Hello friends. So today in this video, I want to talk about why time is more valuable than money. Time is something way more important than the salary you're getting today, and why we should maximize the time we have and start taking action from today. So I'm 33 and I used to think money would bring the world, and building my own business for 4 years, I realized that happiness doesn't require money, but it's just the time used intentionally. And I wouldn't say you don't need money, of course, but you should not be very obsessed about. But instead, how do you maximize the time you have, and how do you apply that money as a tool for you to achieve something that you want? So I guess my message here is that the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Time is more valuable than money, and time is actually life. And the decisions you make now shape the life you live like 10 years from now on. So let's dive right in. So the first point is that, time, you can never get your time back. So we always kind of hear about this, right? So like going on a travel, I lost a lot of money, a lot of stability, but I gained a lot of time for myself. So through that, I have 3 things I realized. So one is that actually being obsessed makes you unhappy. And then the second is that staying away from society for 1 year, I realized that a lot of my values and perspectives have been based on other people's value. The conclusion I had was that you can always earn money, but your time will never come back for you. So if you watch a lot of education video and all that kind of things, time is a finite resource of life. And what that means is that you're never getting back the time you have while you're chasing for stability, chasing for money, or doing something that doesn't matter to you. And for myself, I felt exactly that way when I traveled, spent that $70,000 a year. And you can always earn back your money, but the time will never come back. Go to places that we can only do now. Maybe things that we won't do when you're 40, 50, we'll do it at 30. Same for businesses or small projects that you're trying to do. Like, you still have so much energy. When you're 20, you have even better energy level to start something. You have your momentum and everything. But when you're 40, 50, I hear some people talk about, they want to make their businesses when they're 40 or 50. Now is the time you can invest more of your energy, and you have more freedom before you have a family, only if you want to have a family. So for me, I struggled a lot too. I was thinking 40 or 50-year-old, I would do a business. But then at the same time, I realized if I want to be someone, let's say the ideal person in me that is 40 or 50, and if I'm actually not doing that one thing just to be that person, then I don't think I will ever be ready, right? So you might get a little overwhelmed when you hear all these kind of things, but I feel like the good things always take time. So take that one action right now. That one action that you invested with your time is very valuable. It's not the money or anything, but do one thing that matters to you, and that one thing that your future ideal self is doing right now. And so I think the second point is actually what matters isn't success, it's whether you took action. So imagine a situation where most of our parents' generation, some of them are like very successful, or even like your friends as well. They have that success in you that, okay, let's say that, they're rich or they're loaded with money, and success often becomes sort of like a symbol and a destination of where you want to head towards. And I think most of us now is that we take the safe path, hoping that eventually you will become successful in life. But what I realized put a distance towards that is that I stopped thinking about what that success looks like to me at all. Because that success is sort of like it's like a perceived status of like what other people think about your situation. So the success shouldn't be defined by like based on the society, but success should be defined by how you think, what you think the success. And it's okay that we don't really need to think about 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, how do you want to be? It still works for someone. The world is changing very rapidly. And when we even think about success, we don't even know where we're heading. The world is sort of like where we don't even know what success looks like anymore. So what I came to understand now is that action speaks much louder action speaks louder, and let that action lead you to the next destination is what I'm trying to focus. And a life where you did nothing out of fear of failure is actually far more regrettable than the one where you tried and failed. So don't think about perfecting it to make it successful, but it's actually the time you have right now today. How did you maximize your time doing and setting an outcome for yourself to achieve who you are today will shape the future for yourself. So ever since letting go of the success and then taking that action that matters to me today, it makes me feel very relieved. At the same time, it makes me very focused on what I can do today to make myself feel better and then do something that matters to me. Even quit something as well. So this leads to sort of a next point is a lot of the times you don't know what you're thinking. You're just too numb staying in the corporate life for too long, and then you just don't know what you want to do anymore. But I think I was exactly the same. I always, ever since I played golf, and then I worked in a company for 8 years, and then I just didn't even think about what I'm curious about is going to make me any money or something. But it's just a very limited mind of yours that's making you not do it. So for me, I'm restarting to actually experiment on my businesses around golf, tourism, and business, gathering international golfers into Japan, for example. And I don't know where this is going to take me, but I'm experimenting this based on my interest. Oh shit, sorry, if I didn't say this, the title is Act Based on What You're Curious About Now. So, it's okay that you tried what you do. And then when you have the sort of if you're taking action based on your curiosity and based on what you think is interesting, naturally you will enjoy this process, and then you will start to take actions more regularly and take actions that matters here. So I think in the age of this information overload, what really excites you today is worth following, I think. And there's so many information out there, so which helps you to understand whether that business will work or not, or how do you actually make that business happen. And if it happens, perfect. If it doesn't, don't worry, just move on, move forward, do something else. We have so much time in our lives, but we are, like I said on the first point, that 30-hour time today is never going to come back. Okay, and then the next point is that reflecting on how I used to waste my time. So this is sort of a reflecting on how I used to waste time in the corporate life before. I was trading my time to get more money. Let's say you have a task assigned a dude for 1 week, and then basically probably spend 2 hours to get this done, but you were spending 1 week combined with procrastination, YouTube, watching some education content, and then kind of feels better about it, but then you're somehow feeling so weird and you're feeling strange in your heart. So and then you just spend the last maybe 1 day before to start working on the task. And then, so for me, being in a management consultant back in time, we used to get sort of a very high fee from our clients. So we were trained to sell our time with better outcome, not time. That's why the projects are usually very time demanding, and then we were selling much higher quality of work to our clients, and they're paying a lot of money for that. A good thing that I learned is that you always focus on the next 1 hour to complete one outcome, one output, 1 hour, one task, sort of a concept, no matter what. And then to make sure you think about why you're doing this task and then whether this task will move you forward. So what I mean by the one task is, let's say if you're doing in YouTube, you have to script, trim, and then you have to make the presentation, like text, formatting, and all that presentation related are focusing based on the process, but you don't just do one here that would do there and then do there. It makes you very overloaded with everything, all the different mixture of tasks. So you have to finish one process of task first, then you move on to the next thing. That way you can sort of crystallize that one task into 1 hour, and then it becomes 1 hour, one task. And then if you have 8 hours a day, you basically have 8 tasks finished in that. So that kind of helped me to sort of today that, making my productivity very good. And when you have 8 different tasks completed, it becomes a very highly efficient and highly feel-good productivity that is built within you, and it creates more momentum for yourself. But I remember that before consulting, I was sort of like wasting my hours, spending so much time not doing the work I had to, and then just procrastinating. Like, I think the important part is that we need to remember that this time you're putting, but you're procrastinating, is you're wasting your resource and your finite resource of your time. And that is never going to come back. It's important to input that into your mind, that you're wasting your hour not doing something or procrastinating. Like, mindset is an important thing. So tell yourself that, what am I doing in this 1 hour? If I'm wasting this 1 hour, what can I do next? So whether this is like in this like a limited time of yours, physical movement, habits, or clearing mental fog matter. And small actions really build that rhythm and drive in you. What really hinders your process is perfectionism. Like, perfectionism, it's so bad. It's like I was fighting this perfectionism for like over many years. You just want to make this a better piece, but you just don't have the experience to sort of like create that momentum to output. So it's where everyone else has to figure out how they get over this like a perfectionism thing. And I remember that this like a doctor once said that perfectionism is not something to get rid of. If you have that mindset, you are having this perfectionism mindset. So remember, so that means it's not 0 or 100. It can be 10%, it can be 50, it can be 80. Ask yourself, maybe 40%. If you're going to the gym, just show up and then do 2 sets. If you're normally doing 4 sets, if you're on YouTube, it's okay that you're perfecting your script or video content. Just post it first. Just post it. One task that becomes an outcome. Not so in YouTube, it's going to be publishing the video that is one output and outcome, but completing the script is just that one that will make you move forward. So always focus on publishing that one video. If it's you're organizing different events, you always should focus on putting that work in front of customer. So creating more events, running more events to get that experience, get that momentum for yourself. I think that's what we need to focus on. And perfectionism is really going to hinder you. So focus on that. I would say, I'm calling this like an optimism these days. Like, focus on what you can do, but forget about results. Focus on your outcome. Your output is what matters these days. And as long as you're doing that, you're winning your day already. Last but not least, I think be aware of the time others give you. I think it's not about you, but it's also about like how you treat others. I think is that be aware of the time other people are giving you. So like whether it's a meal or a meeting, aim for like intentional gatherings. Like, don't waste your time with people that take your energy out of you. Or if you don't have a purpose, you're just like sitting down for brunch. You can do that with your close friends maybe, but you don't want to do that with like everyone, because you have very much limited time for yourself to build what you want to do in your life. So if that gathering has an intention, I think that's okay. So what I do now is I stop hanging out with like everyone. I'm doing this intentionally. Like, one is because I'm trying to actually shift my mindset, and then try not to get as affected. I'm trying not to get affected too much about my mindset with other people, because ultimately it's very different when I'm trying to do building things. Let's say when I'm building things. So I'm building YouTube, I'm building my businesses and all that. And when you hang out with friends that are more consumer based, the perspectives are just very different. And then the conversation becomes very difficult to sustain. So I'm trying to make sure that I have a purpose on what can I do to make their time more valuable and also my time as well, instead of just hanging out without any intention. I think that's something very important that I recently realized, and the time that you get from your friends is something to be valued as much as your own. So yeah, I don't know what you think about this, and I don't know if I articulated this in a good manner. I hope you understand some of the points. And if you're ever struggling with your own time, and then you're trying to build your own thing or try to build your own life, this is not about money. Like, we're all equally given this time, this finite resource to do whatever we want in life. So what matters is what you want to do and then where you want to head in the next 5-10 years. But if you don't have any 5-10 years sort of goal for yourself, start from small successes. Like, start from like thinking, what do you really care about now? What makes you happy? And then if you want to do business, go build that business. If you feel like you want to build that small community that you hang out with people with good intention, then just do it. And ultimately, stressing yourself, doing something that you really hate is not going to change anything about your life. Think about the person that you want to be in 10 years, and then think about what they're doing every day on a daily basis, daily routine, and start doing that routine. Yeah. So yeah, this is like the kind of the realization I had in the time and money perspective. And it's really scary to get that money fear. But what we should be more careful about is the time fear. So I hope we can all intentionally spend our time to make our life feel better, and let's be happy in that sense. Let me know what you think in the comment. Keep me posted. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.